Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings to everybody. I think it's important as when you're an immigrant to learn the history of the people that were here, that have struggled here in this country. African Americans, Native First Nations people. When you had the COINTELPRO, they were not only disrupting the Black Power movement, but the Puerto Rican national movement, as well as the First Nations people's movement. And not only were they destroying those organizations, they were going abroad in various African countries and Caribbean countries and South American and Central American countries to destroy those movements there, and also Asia. And also I'd like to say, when you read the book Dirty Wars by Jeremy Scahill, it talks about the war on terror, and it talks about how America goes into various countries, and it could be some Muslim countries and some African countries, and they use other Africans, pay them money or bribe them to occupy other African countries. They pay certain Muslim countries to occupy other Muslim countries and also to assassinate other Muslims. If you read Dirty Wars, you will see the reality. It doesn't matter if it's the Democrats, the Demon Party, or the Reptile Party. They're both the same thing. They're both. The ideology is already set. And Dirty Wars. And if you read the book All the Kings of Men by Stephen Kinzer, it talks about how America assassinated the president of Iran, Mossadegh, to get the oil, to get the gas. And all these things are connected. And also, if you read the book Drone Warfare by Medea Benjamin, it talks about how this country now, when I guess it was Anwar what's his name? Anwar al-Awlaki. He was born here, but he was so charismatic in how he was, talking to people, that the government tried to use him to, I guess, like as an informant, because whenever America sees any type of movement, a Muslim movement, a Black Power movement, a Christian movement that's moving the people, making them think, they infiltrate the churches, the mosques, wherever you're meeting, to try to find out and destroy it and disrupt it. So,
and then they killed him.
Yeah, because first, if they find out you have like charisma like Malcolm X, they'll try to pay you off. If that don't work, they try to discredit you, call you this person in the media or that person, and then in the end, they just kill you. So, and this is a worldwide policy. So, the thing is to study like what goes on and how and what tools they use to, I guess, try to control people, kill them, take over. And it's all about really getting the resources, getting that money. And if you look at the CIA website, it's all about news gathering. Well, what's the population? What's the religion? What are the resources? And then they go about using corporations here to go over there and get those things. And then those corporations go over there and bribe the governments to use certain military or local police to kill the people, to protest when they say, look, this is our land, we have our rights, and they just kill them they're using their own government against them.
Well, thank you for your comments. Does any of the panelists have a response? Or
when you're talking about what's done in other countries, to go back to COINTELPRO, the mission of the program, and these are words that they use, the mission was to discredit, to misdirect, to present the five, that I mentioned, with Elijah Muhammad and Sharaf Brown, Stokely Carmichael, Max Stanford, and Martin Luther King, so that there would not be any support. So you can see the same thing is happening now. The interesting thing with COINTELPRO, it ended after they said misdirect, discredit everything, or neutralize, or otherwise neutralize. Now, what does that mean?
Kill,
right, yeah. And that's exactly what they did. Steph mentioned Fred Hampton, and we can list a whole, or throw them in jail, keep them in jail. Tonight, there's a funeral, a janaza in New York at Imam Siraj's Masjid for a political prisoner who died in jail, and they're having his janazah, what we say janazah, his funeral tonight. His 91-year-old mother was going back and forth visiting him, and this is what I'm talking about as far as women, you know, and family members. So, you know, to neutralize people, it's the same thing that they're doing abroad, they're doing it here. And I keep on saying they, right? And we know who I'm talking about, okay?
Any other comments or questions or thoughts? Anyone? Yes.
I'm sorry, I got lost and didn't make it on time. Sonali, I didn't hear you talk.
We'll have dinner.
How was your brother? We gotta talk later. How was your brother?
So Shiva actually, thanks for asking, Shiva is in Mississippi, Yazoo, and they recently built a prison there, I think just in the last 5 years or so. So he was just recently moved there a couple of months ago, or less. And so he's doing well. He's always been very clear about his criminalizing process, and he knows the game that the government plays, and that it's a rigged system. And so his spirit has always been very strong and clear about that. I think, Eric, one of the things that you're saying, which is, you know, and Stephanie, you said that isolation is a tool to continue to hold power, right, for the system, and it's used as a tool to garner and have all the power. And so Shiva was the kind of person he actually loved to share, and whatever he's learning, whatever he's reading about, and that's part of what he was doing online, you know, to the point where it actually ends up being used against him as one of the material supports. But really, using him and putting him in solitary confinement actually it's so that he would not be sharing and talking and inspiring, just being who he is. And so my little brother was actually the opposite. He's really, I think more than anything, what got him in trouble is that he just loved to share and talk a lot at the end of the day, you know. And so a lot of times, a lot of the Muslim prisoners are being held in these communication management units, which are very restrictive. It's all designed to restrict their communication with others, communication with each other, communication with the rest of the world, unlike most of the prisoners across the country. And it's because a lot of the Muslim prisoners are actually intellectuals. They are reading their books, their Quran, and some of them are professors, some of them, you know, and so they are inspiring people. They are spiritually inspired themselves, and they love to speak and share their truth and speak their truth, and truth resonates with people. And so the government doesn't want all the Muslim prisoners to have that kind of communication with the rest of the world, you know, and or with each other, because then, oh, who knows, they might riot, right? But it's just really important to understand that there's all kinds of controlling tactics that are in place to really just protect the powers that be, you know. And
Yeah, we call actually for your cases, all of us who date, you know, back to the 60s, we call them thought crimes. You know, they were arrested, convicted, sentenced for thought crimes, you know. And
Intention.
right, and yeah, and we're seeing that across the board, especially with the young ones, you know. So, but the criminal part of it is the long sentences that they have gotten for thought crimes. So, you know, it's good that we are here and all of you are here to learn, you know, exactly what's been going on.
I'm sorry, Sonali, I'm out of the loop. I forgot what his sentence is. How long is he going to be there?
so you can find all that background
Okay.
information on freeshifa.com.
Okay.
But what is his sentence?
Yeah, There's actually 4 different counts that Shifa and Harris were in. One was providing material support, what are material support? In this case, it was producing these translations that are actually educational, and some of them are ancient, articles that were produced by, written by other Muslim scholars we're talking hundreds of years ago. And so he translated them from Arabic to English and actually disseminated them online. And that is material support, providing material support. So educational material, written material from Arabic to English becomes used as as something that's criminal. So another one is a video that Harris and Shifa, when they actually went to Washington, D.C. to visit as 2 guys, they were just traveling. So I think it was their only trip that they took with each other, that they just sightseeing. Yeah, and it was just touring videos of Washington, D.C. And that video becomes used as evidence that, they're taking videos of Washington, D.C., they must be doing something.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
Yeah. And so, and what was the other one?
The third one, providing material support to a terrorist organization in Pakistan, Harris.
Oh, when Harris actually goes to go
Yeah.
visit family.
Yeah.
Okay, so when Harris goes to Pakistan to be with family, they're spinning that as Shifa sent him so that he could,
Get
so
more
Harris could join
Joining.
Like
an organization.
He went to get admission into an Islamic university, and then
Okay.
as we were told, he got denied.
So, there's a story that we know, because these are our family members, we know what they're really up to, but government takes that information, spins it in a way that will help them to win their case. So, it's just like, my brother going to Bangladesh to get married, but they start probably watching him even more because they want to believe what they want to believe. So, and they need him to be seen as a criminal so that the government can have a win on their belt, I guess. Yeah.
Question? Yes.
Oh, I was just going to ask about the term Islamist. It seems like they don't use the word Muslim anymore. You're an Islamist.
They're making
And
up
that's
the word.
kind of like terrorist. Islamist
The word don't
equals
even
terrorist.
exist.
Yeah.
And I even heard it in, it was a PBS show that was like a period piece. It was supposed to have taken place like in the 40s or 50s, and they're using this expression Islamist, and I'm thinking, I don't think they use that expression then.
But we
It's media marketing, right?
Yeah.
It's media marketing. I kind of wanted to touch on, and maybe Stephanie, you can touch on this, but there is, when we look at what the government wants us to believe are extremist organizations, these are extremist organizations, and then when we actually look at what they're actually doing in their local communities, so Western media only portrays what it wants to portray. It doesn't portray the other breadth of work that they're doing in their communities, like social services. So these organizations are actually involved in all kinds of other activities, and yes, they for whatever reason they are attacking certain other groups of people or certain locations, and that's the only thing that we get to hear about. And I'm not trying to defend their behaviors and about acts at all, but what I am saying is that there's a bigger picture. And we need to start doing our own research if we're really going to start just hearing one side of the story. We recognize that there's other sides of the story.